Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big drama going down last night with some scrum results going into the kickoff tournament, which is going to conclude in just a couple of days. 4 teams remain in many of the regions. Only 2 will qualify for Masters in Bangkok. Zekken giving his thoughts on what's happened over the last few days, and some big scrum results as well that were causing some drama on the timeline. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Starting here, I thought was pretty cool here from Durka. Warming up on another game here before scrims, of course, Vitality are definitely being favoured to qualify for Bangkok as it stands with the team that they have put together. There's some interesting ideas as well on the new, well, Teho meta, shall we say. Because, I mean, yeah, have a look at this. Obviously using the deadlock here, and the Teho damage at the corner manages to get the job done regardless. So, yeah, I don't know, a very interesting way, but apparently when obviously the Teho damage comes in, if you're hitting the bunny hops like this, it's actually, you know, it's possible maybe to survive some of the damage. So I thought that was pretty interesting as a potential counter to the agent, where of course that spot on split for using Teho's utility is rather impactful. Also, some further reaction here to Cubit Academy. They've continued to deliver some good results over the last couple of days, and you know, Sentinels and others having a back and forth on that. But let's talk about some of these scrim results, because VCT Scrims has been popping off over the last few days. This is one such example here from G2, and I've said this a few times, and like at the end of the day, VCT Scrims, he posts what he can find. Like, there's no discrimination involved. There's no, like, I mean, he even said it, how he was trying to find a scrim where Leviathan were actually winning, like a screenshot where they're winning a scrim, but it was difficult to find. But G2, they are just frying like everyone they play, and it doesn't seem like this is going to be stopping anytime soon. They're playing TSM, they're winning 20-3, like it's pretty absurd. So you don't really see any other team doing this. I know that it's practice, it's not the biggest deal in the world, it's understandable, right, why, you know, it's obviously people are going to take it with a bit of a pinch of salt, and understandably so. But still, of all the teams in the world that are doing this, G2 is the team, and as I've said before, I am very impressed at how G2 are able to just lock in and just win the scrims by such a dominant margin. Like, it must be pretty demoralizing playing against G2 right now, playing how they are. So Jorgamo, Leaf, Jonah P, Trent and Valin, they are going to play Sentinels in just a few hours' time, and the winner of that series is going to guarantee their qualification for Bangkok. But it's not like Sentinels are looking weak either. They're actually looking particularly strong as well. This, I thought, though, was pretty funny. So, you know, DVM Foxy says, like, I'm not having a good time right now. And VCT Scrims quote tweeted and says, for esports, we're 14-2 up on those guys. A couple of other interesting results, though, as well, such as this one. So, yeah, Sentinels at the time were 10-3 up on Cloud9. So, of course, C9, they're long out of the tournament, but they're still screwing, right? I mean, lots of teams, they will take some time off, of course, after their result. They may consider what changes they could potentially make, but yeah, Cloud9 seem to still be running it back for the time being and providing some, and obviously it's great practice to get at about this time of the season, right? Because if you're Cloud9, you are not going to Bangkok, so you're not going to be able to scrim the teams that are in Bangkok when they are in Bangkok. So therefore, Cloud9, the best chance you get to get good practice is basically now, when the best teams in the Americas are about to play their big matches in the kickoff to determine the champion of the region. This is when Sentinels, this is when G2, this is when the other teams involved should be playing their best stuff. Great opportunity to get some good practice in. And yeah, Cloud9 getting farmed. 10-3 down in this one. It then swiftly became 13-4. And I think that after that it became 14-4, because there was this funny thread I thought was pretty good. So yeah, Cloud9 were asking their guys what's the best region. And Roxy, or Rocket Bullet, says about Oxy that you know, he's a real knower about China. Although VCT Scrims then says, you know, we know who you are. Looks at Rocket Bullet's a tweet from a couple of years ago where he said that China's got a 0% win rate at the international stage from the lock-in tournament. And of course, yeah, sure, that was true, but Edward Gaming, they made a real performance of it at the last year's World Championship to change that story around to some degree. But yeah, then Cloud9 get involved and they say, VCT Scrims has changes to a green PFP and now they're out for blood. Your team is currently down 14-4 to Sentinels. I thought that was pretty brilliant. So yeah, that's not going away, it seems. And Sentinels getting a good result against Cloud9 yesterday, per our understanding. standing, and that obviously might set them up pretty well for their matches in just a couple of days' time. There was a bit of interesting talk about this as well. I don't know what you guys think about this. So for the last few days, we've been discussing things like this. We've got Qubit Academy wanting you to be their assistant coach, and we saw it was the same for the SRG team, the Shopify Rebellion Gold roster, and they, at the bottom of this, say, okay, give me your name, give me your details, and then provide an example scouting report or an anti-strat write-up for Sentinels Split and for Gen.G's Lotus and all this type of stuff. Now, of course, these organizations may be doing this just because it is beneficial. Obviously, it's beneficial for them to some degree. They want to get a good assistant coach and they want to get a good analyst in, and therefore they want someone who knows what they're talking about, and fair enough. But equally, the tasks that they set people to complete are tasks that may, favor them, right? So, for example, in this case, it's pretty interesting, I guess, for Sentinels, because there's going to be loads of people doing anti-strat write-ups for Sentinels Split, which of course is typically a very good map for Sentinels, which may be pretty good timing. I mean, is it impossible that Dapper is passing some of these best applications to Kaplan, the coaching of the main Sentinels team, and they may use some of that information, the better applications, to say, that's an interesting point, that's an interesting idea, we may need to consider that for the coming days. So, I think this is tactically maybe an interesting idea of these teams saying, hey, I need an assistant coach for the roster, and then obviously loads of people apply, and the team gets loads of free work, basically. And look, I think this is probably just fair enough. If you want to apply for a job, it's understandable the team's going to want some example of what you could potentially do. But equally, lots of that work is probably proving quite valuable to these teams, that they've managed to gather from loads of talented people basically for free. So Mini Jake then gives his take and says, look, orgs that are doing these open calls for coaching staff with assignments should be open about who made it deep into the process, the least they could do for all of the free work. And Rodrigo says a similar thing. This is Owner, you guys may know. A VCT team from the Pacific was looking for a coach. I reached out to them. They asked me to review 2 maps. I delivered the work in less than 48 hours. It was 20 pages long. They told me they liked it and wanted me as their coach. But after talking about salary, they asked for a bit more, and they said they just cut off communication and said it was GG. And they did the same for Chet as well. So interesting, right? The idea of these teams saying, oh yeah, like absolutely you want to apply for us. We'd love you to do a 20-page report on these certain things. And then when the guy says, do you want me as your coach? They say, actually, no, we're not going to do that. And then for their next match, they get somebody else to do the same thing. So definitely an interesting idea. I think Mini Jake's probably on the money to say, all right, look, if you're going to take all this free work effectively through these applications, then at least being honest about like where did these individuals make it to in the application, right? Rather than just saying, it wasn't for us this time. I understand where that comes from, but equally, if you want to get opportunities with these organizations, that's probably how it's going to be. And this is esports at the end of the day. It's a tricky business. Sometimes that's just how it's going to be. But I want to go through what exactly Zekken had to say about this. Here, of course, are the Sentinels guys getting ready for their game in just a few hours' time. We'll have a look at that in a second. But we did see the other day, Zekken did that tweet, and Moore did this great interview here, Brandon Moore, with Zekken talking about all sorts of things. Zekken did mention, of course, the other day about how, there were certain people who were accusing him of using, substances like Adderall, Ritalin, etc., etc. And Zekken gave a bit more clarification on that and said the following. I saw a thread where people were saying that I'm on a bunch of stimulants because my eyes, when I focus, my eyes go wide, basically what he says. But the only thing that I take is caffeine, so I'm just fed up of all of that kind of discussion around it, right? So a fair few other things that Zekken said, but I thought that was an interesting clarification as to why people were kind of calling Zekken out, thinking that he's using something else to gain some degree of performance advantage. I don't know if there is testing in the VCT. I'd imagine there probably is. Most esports will do this type of thing nowadays. Of course, certain individuals may have prescriptions for certain things, which makes it rather challenging to deal with. But that was Zekken's update on the situation over there. The key thing, though, to mention for you guys, I guess, is that there are big matches coming up soon. So in EMEA, it's happening shortly. Heretics play Vitality. One of those two teams will get to Masters Bangkok. The other one may do as well if they win their other game. But this is how things look over the next couple of days. It's a banger couple of days of the VCT. This, to be fair, isn't my time zone, but it is worthy of note. Sentinels G2. That is first up this evening in the Americas. After that, it's MIBR Crew elimination game. Then it kicks off in the Pacific, T1 DRX, Talon Gen.G, and then tomorrow afternoon my time it's Vitality Heretics, and then FUT Esports Team Liquid. So yeah, banger set of games upcoming very shortly. Who's going to win? Tough to say. As I said before, I think G2 would be the favourites against Sentinels. I think either team could win. If I had to predict, I'd probably give it, G2 2-1. I think MIBR should take down Crew and make it to the elimination finals. T1 DRX I think is particularly fascinating. I think, I want to lean T1's way, but, it's Korea versus Korea. Talon Gen.G, really difficult to call. I think Talon could absolutely win that series. I'd like to see them do it, just because, the Thai representation in Bangkok would be a great storyline for Primi especially. So, yeah, I'm kind of rooting for Talon to get the job done there. And then in EMEA, I guess those games are tomorrow, so we'll probably discuss that then. But very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.